Do you want to switch your career but don't know what else to do? In this video, I'm going to share with you how I went from being a senior software engineer to a full-time artist, why I decided to quit engineering, my exploration process for me to pick my next career, and how I know that art is the career that I wanted to do. So let's get started. Before I talk about why I quit engineering, I wanted to give a little introductions. I am a first-generation immigrant. I was born in Taiwan and my family moved to the States when I was in high school. I went to undergrad for computer science, and after I graduated, I worked as a software engineer at Microsoft, Meta, and also a few other different startups. So why did I want to quit? I think the main reason was that at the time, none of the career paths in front of me seems interesting to me. As a senior software engineer, the typical path kind of goes down to three different options. Of course, there are more. But the first one is you can continue to get promoted, basically climb the corporate ladder, whether that means to continue be an engineer or you can switch to be a manager. The second option is to basically quit and go do your own startup. The third option is to stay where you're at, because as a senior engineer, there's basically no more pressure to get promoted to the next level in most of the companies. So technically, you can just stay there. Option 1 and 2 were just not interesting to me at all. I just don't see myself doing that. So for a few years, I basically just stay as a senior engineer and kind of just try to enjoy my life as much as possible outside of work. That being said, it doesn't mean that I hate coding or like I got burnout or anything like that. It was more just that after being in the industry for so long, things become a little bit repetitive. I am just not as excited as before, and it's just harder to find things that will motivate me to enjoy the work, basically. The other thing that I really wanted to do is I wanted to create something that shows my individuality. Even though coding or like software engineering is or can be considered a creative work, I just feel like it doesn't show me as a person that much, and I wanted to create something that kind of like an extension of myself, and when people look at it, they can just be like, ah, that is Angela. So those were kind of like the two things that I feel like was missing out in my life, and honestly they were not strong enough for me to quit such a good job and like a good life. But what really got me to pull the trigger and make the decision was I was about 30 years old when I started thinking about these. And I asked myself, what kind of a life do I want to live when I'm 40 years old or 50 years old? Because I could see that if I don't make any changes, I will pretty much just keep working in tech as an engineer. When I asked myself that question, it's such a strong and clear no to me that that is not the life that I wanted to live. And I feel like if I don't make a change, I knew that I am going to regret so much not trying anything else. And that's kind of the last straw for me to know that, okay, I need to make a change. And honestly, it was also the fact that I was already 30 years old and I didn't know how much longer I could have the luxury to basically quit and then try to figure out what else works for me. I am definitely not at a stage where I can retire. I have some savings, but who knows? Maybe something happened and I will need to keep my tech job so that I can get through things. You just never know. So I really feel that urgency that I had to do something sooner than later, or else I might not have a chance. So that is when I decided to quit. So why did I pick art? I actually did not pick art at first. Growing up, I always wanted to be a writer, not really an artist. I love reading fictional novels, and I used to write short stories growing up. Writing was my thing. So when I first decided to quit engineering and explore other options, writing was the first thing that I tried. So in 2019, I basically quit and started to work on my first novel. But you probably figured that out. 2019, probably not the best timing to switch career, because 6 months after I started writing my novel, COVID hit and everything shut down. And you could say that, you can still keep writing your novel during the COVID shutdown, which I did for a few months, but I think it was just really hard to switch career, meet people, build connection, get feedback, learn the ropes when the world is shut down. So I basically decided to go back to software engineer for a few more years to kind of like wait out. But even though I quit writing, I did learn a few things about myself and what I'm looking for next. First, I know that I do like creative work. So that's one thing that I love about writing is when people read it and we discuss it, I just really feel seen, that they can see my work, and I get so excited when people like can resonate with me or can understand what I'm trying to say in my stories. So I'm like, yes to creative work. This is what I'm looking for. Now, the things about writing that I feel like it's not really for me is the fact that it takes a long time, or like longer time, for me to get feedback from people because they'll need to read it. And I realize that's something very important for me, not only to grow as a writer or whatever that I'm trying to do to be able to get feedback, but also it's so important for my motivations. Like, I need to do something that I can quickly show it to many people and they can just give me feedback right away. So that's kind of the thing that I know that, okay, even though I love writing, maybe it's not for me to make it as a career at the time. So after I went back to software engineer, worked for another 2 years, wait out this COVID thing, I'm like, okay, let's try again. So then again, how do I know I wanted to be an artist? I did not. Growing up, I don't have any art experiences or like trainings. What happened is in 2018, before I quit and tried to be a writer, I was still working as an engineer. And at the time, I got really burned out from my job. I started seeing counselor at work. And I remember in one of the sessions, the counselor told me to draw down my feelings, basically. And I remember I was so close to roll my eyes in front of the counselor because I was like, this is so silly. I know what you're trying to do. I'm an adult here. Like, ugh. But I was in the session, so I still did it. And that experience actually stayed with me because I found out that while I was drawing, I can feel kind of like everything that I was trying to process and messy in my head and kind of just like flow out of me onto the paper. It's almost like writing a journal to me. And I didn't have like any art trainings. I did not draw at the time. So my drawing was like very childish. But when I look at my drawing, I just have a very strong feeling that this is exactly what I'm trying to say. This is exactly what captures the emotions that I was going through. So that kind of stayed with me. And throughout the year that I was still working as a software engineer, I kind of kept it as a hobby. I would just like go to coffee shop and start drawing. But it was really more a hobby. I never thought about, making something big out of it. But in 2023, when I decided to quit again, I'm really running out of options on what else to do. Like, I couldn't think about any other talents or hobbies that I had. And my friends and family were saying that, hey, your drawing kind of looks cool. Maybe you should do something about it. And again, I was really running out of any other options. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I signed up for a local market and I basically decided to show my art to the public and see the reaction. My theory was that if there is no one there seems interesting in my art and no one bought my art, then that's probably a clear no that even though I like it, there's probably not a market for it. But I was so touched. Like my first market, people were just very encouraging and positive. And what amazed me is I had so many people who saw my art, and because I do surrealism, so for each one I'll also include a little story about the inspiration behind the piece. And I had people who read those inspiration words and they'll come to me and share their story with me. And it's just amazed me how art can connect people so quickly and kind of opens up about the things that we feel in life, but we might not be sharing. Like we usually don't talk about them, That's kind of the moment that I knew that, okay, art kind of fits what I was looking for. It is a creative work that shows my individuality. It is something that I can quickly get feedback from many people just by showing them my art. They'll take a glance and be like it, not like it. I was really amazed by what art can do, which is connecting people. And that also really motivates me to kind of like get to learn about people's background, their stories and all that. So that is how I decided that I'm going to do art. So yeah, that's how I went from being a software engineer to an artist. I think what really helped me in the process is to think about what was missing in my previous job. So that helps me to kind of give a directions on what I'm looking for my next career. And the second thing is, even though I didn't really know what else I could do, I still forced myself to make a list of everything that I could think about that could be my next career. Making that list and literally pick the best option out of the list and just go try it. Because the thing is, you'll learn something from the process about yourself, about the kind of job that you're looking for. And then you can pivot again. Like maybe you'll make the list again and then you pick the best options, go try it. I completely understand that not everyone has such a luxury to just quit your job and go try it. Even if you don't, I think still try to do it as much as you can in your free time. You just never know what's going to come out of it. I hope you find this video helpful and comment below if you have switched career in the past or are thinking about doing that to share your journey with me, and I'll see you next time. And before we start, do a little self-intro. This is so fucking awkward.